Welcome to Dualshock'd, the Brotherhood of Geeks PlayStation podcast. I am one of your hosts, Brett J. Rasmussen, and over here, I got my other co-host.
You got Spectre.
Yeah! What is up, Spectre?
I can't remember the last time we did this.
Woo!
It's been so long.
I think it was definitely before E3. And I think we were talking about because last episode, this is episode 58, if I am correct. Because last time we were doing this, it's been a while, and really, I've been working on other projects and stuff, and yeah, it's been a while, but we're back. This is now back to being a weekly thing. We were going to be putting this out and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, this is episode 58 of the PlayStation podcast of Dualshock'd. But the last time we talked was about, it was episode 57, A Cross-Gen Game Divide. And this was when, at the time, God of War Ragnarok and Horizon Forbidden West were only going to be PS5. They weren't going to have PS4 to PS5, upgrades or backward compatibility or anything like that. And that was kind of a big deal about all of that. That there was a big hullabaloo about that. And we kind of talked about our opinions on what we thought of should there be a PS4, PS5? What do we think about, backwards compatibility and kind of how the PS5 has been and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, no.
Yeah, and now we have God of War coming to PC and PS4.
Are you talking about God of War 2018 or what?
Well, yeah, 2018. I'm sure Ragnarok will follow shortly.
Oh, great. Oh, okay. Well, so what does that mean for you?
Great.
So what does that mean?
That means I get to play the game. That's great.
Alrighty. Well, that's totally fine.
Why am I supposed to be upset by that or something?
No, no. Because here's the thing. For me, I actually am fine with these PlayStation games coming to PC. I don't have a problem with that, and I actually do like how PlayStation's take on it is that they're not just going, day one it's on PC. It still creates that whole, if you want the exclusivity of, if you want to play God of War Ragnarok, if you want to play Gran Turismo 7, if you want to play Horizon Forbidden West, if you want to play the next exclusive game, you have to play it on the console. And then later, 2 to 3 years later, it comes to PC, opening it up to other people who don't want to play it on console, who don't have a PS5, only have a Series X or a Switch or whatever it would be. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's really even going to be 2 or 3 years. I mean, it might be even sooner than that. We'll see. For this stuff, we'll see how it kind of all unfurls here.
And even if it is even if it is a less amount of time, maybe a year after, that's still fine, because it still creates that exclusivity. Now let's just say, for instance, they go the full Xbox Game Pass route, or the day one, Halo Infinite comes out, you can play it on PC or Xbox. It does take away, you have to play it on console. But I still don't mind that, because it's still opening up other people who either don't want to or can't because of money or whatever reason to be able to play PlayStation games. And I think that is...
So you're embracing the idea. You're not opposed to. You're not one of the types that's going to go on there and say this is some sort of betrayal
No. I do believe. I will say I do like that PlayStation is going the route of, hey, you want to play the new game? You still got to go ahead and play on You still have to play on PlayStation, and then it will later come to PC or whatever. I do like that. But if somehow, some way they choose to go day one, am I down with that? But I'm not like, no, what did you do to my games? What did you do to my PlayStation? Like,
well, you do have some resistance there. It sounds like so.
I do, but like I do because I like the exclusivity of it. Like you and I have talked about how really the only of the big three of the system makers, the only one who has like complete true exclusives in your eyes is Nintendo, because the only way you can play a Nintendo game is on a Switch. You cannot play it on PC. You cannot play it on another console. It's only on the Switch.
You can kind of play it on PC.
In what way? By an emulator?
It's true. Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Well,
not that I would ever encourage anyone to do that, right? But yeah, you can.
Great, Spectre. Great.
Yeah, no, definitely. Of course, for the normal person, yeah, the best way to play it is on a Switch, and really the only way to play it is on a Switch.
Mm-hmm. But like we talk about how Xbox, doesn't really like, they have exclusives, and they bought companies like they bought Double Fine and all of Bethesda and all the other studios that are part of the Xbox game studios. That will be making exclusives. Like, for instance, the Phil Spencer has said that the next Elder Scrolls 6, is going to be an exclusive, and he said it's not to punish PlayStation fans, but it makes the most business sense to make it an exclusive for Xbox, which I agree. Am I okay with it? Because I prefer to play my games on PlayStation if I can. But I understand the reasoning of it. I get it from a business sense. If you have one of the most anticipated games coming to consoles, and you have the ability to turn it into an exclusive, you can. And it still doesn't hurt Xbox, because it still you can still play on PC. So even if you don't have a console, you can still play on PC. It's just that if you want to play on PlayStation, you can't.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously for me, I mean, I've kind of fully converted over to PC at this point. So I mean, it's I do like the idea that it will be on PC. I don't really care if it's day one or not. It can be it can be down the road for all I care.
Yeah,
I got plenty of things to play in the meantime.
What have you been playing?
No, I'm glad that you're mature enough that you're not one of the types that's out there like
no
going nuts over it and
it like
this is some sort of betrayal.
No, I honestly don't, because you're opening like business wise, it makes sense that like, oh, we can put this on PC. We can now open ourselves up to even more people buying our games and playing our games, introduce them into new franchises that when we make sequels for, they will want to play that exclusive. And because like, for instance, like, Days Gone has come to PC, and Horizon Forbidden West or Horizon Zero Dawn has come to PC. So someone goes ahead and plays like, oh, I've heard about this Horizon Zero Dawn. I didn't get a chance to play it back in 2017. Oh, but I've heard so many good things about it. Reviews in videos from my friends, da-da-da-da. And I want to go ahead and play it. So I'm going to buy it on my PC, and I'm going to play it. Oh my god, this game is so much fun. Are they making the next game? Oh my god, they're making Horizon Forbidden West. This is going to be awesome. And now then generates, not only did someone buy that game, now they're like, oh, I want to play the next game, Forbidden West. Well, it's not coming to PC day one. Oh, and then I need to get myself a PS4. Or if I can somehow, some way, by the grace of God, get me a PS5.
That sounds like a massive cope in series of logic there. I don't really see that. I don't think
I'm not saying everyone. I'm not saying, oh my god, everyone who plays the PlayStation game on PC.
That's like I'm gonna win the Powerball, and then once I do that, I'm gonna make a charity, and then that's gonna spread out, and then it'll have world peace, and then it's just like okay.
The gist of it is that it's more money coming into PlayStation's pocket by opening up the PC route. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree on that.
So anyway, so what have you been playing? What's been going on, Spectre? It's been a while. I know it's been a while. You and I have been working on other projects, other things, but like, what's been going on with you, Spectre?
Yeah, no, I'm trying to catch up on like the last couple of things here before the Game Awards next week here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing a quick run through a Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil 8.
Mm-hmm.
That shouldn't take longer than I think like 8 to 10 hours. I think is like a normal run. I'm just doing a normal playthrough. I'm not going for like 100% or anything crazy,
Mm-hmm.
anything like that. So I'm doing that, and then after that, I'm gonna play Tales for a little bit, and maybe the Ascent, and hopefully get enough of an experience of all those games before the Game Awards where I can actually make an opinion on them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's gonna be kind of my goal right now, is to kind of hop between all those different games.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I've kind of been doing a massive sprint for myself because there was a big chunk of this year that um, I wasn't able to play as many video games as I would have liked. So I've been kind of kind of going on a massive sprint to kind of play catch up on games. There have been other games that I have played. Like I've finished Ratchet and Clank when it first came out. I've played a crap ton of Returnal. I'm so glad that in Returnal, Housemark patched it where in the 2.0 patch where now before the patch you had to put your PS5 into standby mode in order to keep the run, in order to kind of like, if you're still in the middle of a run, you are still there. Now you can save the cycle. You can save. So if you're like, oh, I need to go to work, or I need to go hang out with my buddies, or need to hit the bathroom, whatever. You can pause the game and save the cycle, so you can save where you are in your run, and then turn off the game, turn off the PS5, and then go about your day, and then come back and continue instead of like, oh well, god dang it. That was such a needed feature for that game. But Returnal has been good and stuff. Like for me, there have been games that I've been playing
Because I heard like you had to like you basically were forced to kind of do things all in one sitting to some degree. Like you couldn't save like mid run for the game or something like
Yes,
that.
yes, you could not save mid run. So
Yeah, which is kind of, I mean, yeah, for the most part, I mean, unless it's like a very specific design idea, like I think games need to let you pause, especially for like a single player game. I mean,
mhm.
it's like, come
No,
on, I mean,
I agree. I was honestly one of the things that like another roguelite that I absolutely adore is Hades. And in Hades you can save in the middle of your run, whichever dungeon you're in or whatever, you can save in the middle of your run and then, leave. Um I was honestly surprised that Returnal didn't do that. And I think they wanted it to have it be like harder or something, but I'm just like, no, you're just making it rough. Now mind you, the game is still phenomenal. Um it's very different and it is difficult, but it's meant to be difficult. Um, but it is very very good and very very fun. Um, but so you've been playing Tales. What have you been playing? Tales of Arise and
I just barely started Resident Evil 8,
okay,
and I will be just starting to, Tales of Arise and Ascent, which
Ascent. Okay,
is not on PlayStation, it's, PC and Xbox.
okay, okay.
But it's like a cyberpunk shooter, co-op shooter type of thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But it can be enjoyed single player as well too, which I'll probably just play for it single player.
yeah. Um, but yeah, so like for me, I'm actually gonna go ahead and just do a quick rundown of what I've been playing and give you a like rapid fire, very quick, just mini review of kind of the games that I've been playing very recently. So first I've been playing I played, beat, finished Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, which is a phenomenal game. Great narrative. The characters all very much feel like the characters you know and love from the MCU, but they're very different from the MCU. They are not those characters. And it's a completely different narrative because the game narrative is not connected to the MCU, just like how Marvel Spider-Man is its own story, its own universe, that kind of thing. You play a Star-Lord, and you are able to command the guardians in pretty much you can choose, hey Drax, do this move, hey Groot, do this move, hey Rocket, do this move, hey Gamora, do this move, and so on and so on in combat. But then there's also puzzles inside of the game. It's like platform puzzles and stuff where only like Groot can create bridges, and Rocket can hack into panels, and Gamora can go ahead and slice the ropes that you need to get across or whatever. And Drax is the heavy, so if you need to carry this big huge thing from this point to this point, Drax can do that, so on and so on. The narrative is fantastic. It very much talks about death and how to deal with grief, and it very much it's phenomenal. And the best part about that game is the soundtrack and the sound design, like the music itself and how it's incorporated into the game is amazing. You have this ability where you can pretty much it's a special. It's called the Huddle. You call in the Guardians, and then you can pretty much choose a conversation choice depending on what they're talking about to you. And if you make the right conversation choice, it's two choices, one out of two, whichever one you choose. Either all of you get a power up, or only Star-Lord gets a power up if you choose wrong. It's a phenomenal game. The only downside is, even though the Huddle is I love the mechanic of the Huddle, it does break. It kind of pauses the combat, because when you're in the middle of combat and everything's like just impactful and massive, but you need to call for the Huddle because you need that power boost, it does kind of pause it, which is a hit and miss sometimes. I've had one or two glitches when I would play. The combat is a bit repetitive, but I personally enjoy that. It's a third-person action-adventure game. But I will say I wish Star-Lord could do a bit more damage when it came to combat. But all in all, a great game. 4 out of 5 from that. The next game I played after that was Life is Strange True Colors. Now it's very different to Guardians and stuff. It's very narrative driven, and pretty much it's about Alex. This is the new character, and she pretty much she's an empath, so she can sense emotions in people, and kind of is able to manipulate the emotions in other people. And pretty much she comes to see her brother that she hasn't seen in years upon years upon years. And she comes to town, and pretty much something happens to her brother, and he dies, and now the whole town is kind of dealing with his death, and there is a bunch of other things that happen. I'm being very vague about it because the narrative is fantastic. Now, the gameplay is very much, if you played Life is Strange before, whether it's Life is Strange 1, Before the Storm, or Life is Strange 2, you will be used to this kind of game. It's heavily narrative driven. It is a bit more of a linear narrative. There are different. It does have the whole butterfly effect where you like, all right, it splits off. You choose this thing or this thing, but it still kind of weaves itself back into one singular narrative. But if the choices you do still make feel impactful to what is happening inside of the narrative, it is very narrative focused instead of gameplay. But for me, I love those kind of games. I love the Telltale games. I love, Life is Strange, that kind of thing. So when it comes to that, the game definitely is a 4 out of 5. It's definitely a shorter game. I was able to beat it within like a day or two, even with the limited amount of time that I do have to play video games. It pretty much took me about maybe 6 to 8 hours, maybe 10 tops if I'm going for the plat. But it's a great game. I still highly recommend that game. A 4 out of 5 game from that. And then I pretty much played Psychonauts 2. And wow, this game has been worked on for years by Double Fine. And it is, Double Fine has been bought by Xbox, and they will be pretty much they're an Xbox studio. But Psychonauts 2, action platformer similar to like Crash Bandicoot. Um, it's more of an action platformer. Pretty much it takes place after Psychonauts 1. And then the VR game, the PSVR game, Rhombus of Ruin, and then it leads literally right after the end of Rhombus of Ruin. And it pretty much tells the story of Raz pretty much being part of the Psychonauts now, and there's a mole inside of the Psychonauts that has been pretty much who pretty much is the one of the guys who helped Lobato, who was the bad guy in Rhombus of Ruin, kidnap the head of the Psychonauts, and you need to find out how that all happened. And then because you go into people's minds, they deal with loneliness and with gambling addiction and a bunch of other.
It's like going into your mind.
Thanks, buddy. But it's it's a phenomenal game, and the way the art direction. There's a part where you pretty much go into the mind of one of the characters, and you're pretty much in a library, and she has kind of splintered herself into different versions of herself, and those versions are in books. When you go into one of these books to get specific items in order to move the narrative forward, it looks like you're inside of the book. I know I'm trying to explain it. Please go ahead and look up some gameplay of Psychonauts 2. But the narrative, the gameplay, it is a collectathon, and I love those kind of games. But just like the entire package, top to bottom, is phenomenal. And I know I've said that a lot, but for me, this is I'm a little bit of a teaser for kind of
nerding out over it. Yeah.
Well, it's this to me. This Psychonauts 2 is 5 out of 5. Definitely my lead of game of the year currently, as of recording of this video right now. So yeah, but Psychonauts 2, 5 out of 5 game, very very good. That took me about a few minutes, but anyway, woo! All right. So shall we go ahead and begin?
Yes, please.
Awesome, great. This is News of the Nation! Yeah, all right. All right, so we're going to try to speed through these because we're going to go ahead and talk about the Game Awards as our main topic. But first, before we get there, PlayStation Plus free games for December 2021. All right, so the 3 free games that we have for December is Godfall Challenger Edition, Lego DC Supervillains, and Mortal Shell. So Mortal Shell and Lego DC Supervillains are on the PS4, and Godfall Challenger Edition is on the PS5 and PS4. Now, there is a caveat with the Challenger Edition. The thing is with the Challenger Edition is that pretty much the game the game is pretty much all end game content. It skips the campaign, gets straight into end game content, and that's about it. It's pretty much like it still is Godfall and everything with combat and everything, but you pretty much are at end game content with all of the like upgrades that you would have had to go through by playing through the campaign or otherwise. A lot of people are very upset at PlayStation about this, and I do agree with this because all you're getting is pretty much a third of the game. You're only getting end game content, so you can grind, but all of the stuff you would do if you got the standard version of the game, you lose, and then you can of course upgrade from the Challenger Edition to the Deluxe Edition or whichever one, but of course that costs money. So you're not really getting the full game of Godfall on the PS5. You are getting the full game when it comes to Mortal Shell and
yeah, it's like it's almost like a trial version of it.
Yeah,
so it's like a glorified trial. Which I'm not too crazy about that. It almost feels like they're giving you a demo. If
Exactly.
they want to give you quote unquote free games, give you free games. Don't give us like a glorified demo.
And even then, like the game when it came out, like it was just kind of meh. It was the most meh. Like I'd rather go ahead and play Demon Souls than Godfall. Like the art design. I remember when they showed it off when they announced Godfall. I'm like, oh my god, it looks like Darksiders. Like, oh, it looks so cool. But it's such a meh game. And then you just take away everything else and just you're at endgame content now. That's what you want. You don't want to grind. You're just here. But this is the how the game is played, how it's based. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just kind of meh,
Yeah.
of an idea. But I mean, otherwise, aside from that, though, I mean, you do get Mortal Shell, which is like a Dark Souls, Demon Souls like game, so
Mm-hmm.
that's not too bad.
A Soulsborne
And
S game.
a Soulsborne-esque game, and then you also get I believe this is the first time they've ever done a Lego game for PlayStation, if I'm not mistaken.
What?
Isn't this like the first time they've done a like at least in a while? I can't remember
No.
them doing a Lego game recently.
No. Lego DC Supervillains came out, I believe, like 2 to 3 years ago.
No,
It's
I mean on PlayStation Plus though.
on Plus. Maybe it's been.
Yeah, when's the
If
last time they've done like a
I
Plus game?
honestly don't remember. I honestly don't remember. If they did. Um, but yeah. So yeah. But so you get those three, and then of course, from last month. So pretty much last month in November, you also got three PSVR games. Those games would be The Persistence, Walking Dead: Saints and Sinners, Standard Edition, and Until You Fall. Those games are still available to pick up. Or those games are still available for you to go ahead and just add to your library. And again, we always recommend when it comes to the free games on Plus, just add them to the library. It doesn't take away any hard drive space. You have them in the library, and as long as you have Plus, you have those games forever. And the reason that these three VR games are here is because it's the 5th anniversary of the PSVR. The PSVR games, these three, Persistence, Walking Dead, and Until You Fall, will be available up until Monday, January 3rd. So pretty much you have the rest of December to get it too. The games of December will also be up until January 3rd, Monday, January 3rd. But yeah, so not bad. I mean, DC Supervillains is good. Mortal Shell is good. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I
So,
mean it's kind of a meh month in my opinion, but
mhm.
I mean
It is
not
what it
horrible.
is.
We've had worse months.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But let's move on. Next topic is that we're going to talk about the Stopping Grinch Bots Act. Pretty much what this is that U.S. Congress is passing a bill to pretty much try to stop and ban scalpers, especially console scalper bots. So we may have talked about the scalping that has happened, especially when the PS5 came out and the Series X and all that kind of stuff, where there have been many restocks on the PS5 and the Series X, and just almost instantly, within minutes, if less, they're just gone. And they're sold out, you cannot get them, and that's because people have created bots. And you are pretty much these bots, you can go to eBay and these scalpers are selling these consoles for like $800 to $1,000+, and it's stupid. And if you're a scalper, you're scum, in my opinion. Like, you are scum of the earth. Ugh. So yeah, from an article from PC Mag, let me just go ahead and pull this up. So, from PC Mag, PCMag.com. From them, this is how the article begins. Quote, a group of Democratic lawmakers are introducing legislation to outlaw the use of automated bots to buy up retail goods such as video game consoles and graphics card from websites. On Monday, which would be which would be, I believe, this past Monday. So it would be, I believe, the 29th, because this article went up on the 29th. So that would be, yeah. Um. Anyway, on Monday, U.S. Representative Paul Tonko from New York and Senator Richard Blumenthal from Connecticut, Chuck Schumer from New York, and Ben Ray Lujan, hope I said that right, from NM, I believe that's New Mexico? Yes. Announced a new push for the Stopping Grinch Bots Act. Um, Inside, quote, the bicentennial of the bicameral bill will crack down on cyber Grinches using bot technology to quickly buy up whole inventories of popular holiday toys and resell them to parents at higher prices. The lawmaker said in a statement. Tonko, Belenthal, and Schumer originally introduced the legislation in November of 2019 to stop scalper bots from snatching up in-demand holiday toys from consumers. Since then, the problem has exploded since retailers are largely selling the newest video game consoles and PC graphics cards. The average holiday shopper is unable to compete with the light speed of the all too common Grinch bots and are then held at ransom by scalpers and third party resellers when trying to buy holiday presents. Schumer said, after a particularly trying year, no parent or American should have to fork over hundreds or even thousands of dollars to buy Christmas and holiday gifts for their children and loved ones. And then it kind of goes on from there. So, Spectre, what do you think about, first, the scalpers and bots of that? Like, what is your opinion of that? And then your opinion on this bill that's trying to be passed right now.
Yeah, well, first of all, my opinion on scalpers. I mean, nobody really likes them. Obviously, I mean, it's that goes without saying. It's kind of been a part of every industry. I mean, it's been around forever, really. At this point, you're always gonna have people. Ever since online, really, commerce has been a thing. You're always gonna have people scooping up stuff, and I see it all the time myself too. I try to, I buy games from like Limited Run, for example, or I want to pre-order, like I think the last thing I was trying to pre-order a soundtrack, like a vinyl soundtrack, and it was snatched up like literally within 10 seconds. Like I went as fast as I could, and it still just wouldn't work. So I can understand the frustration. I really do. It's nobody likes dealing with this. But at the same time, I think the exact wrong solution is having government involved with this here. I hope this bill goes nowhere. I don't think it says it's passing or anything like that. I mean, it might. We'll see what happens here, but I really hope it goes nowhere. I don't see the. I mean, if the last 2 years have taught us nothing else, really, it's that I don't really trust the government solution on anything here. I think if anything, they'll make it even worse. I don't know what they really propose to do to try to crack down on this, but I don't really want to have any. I don't really want to see it. So I'd rather it's a fact of life. I mean, you can't just legislate your way out of every problem. You can't just make a new law for everything. I know that's the popular easy solution, because we think that we can just kind of wave a wand and fix everything, but there's going to be problems, and that's just how it is. But in terms of the scalper thing, it does eventually, the problem does basically correct itself over time. They're ramping up production. I mean, right now we're sort of in an artificial scarcity of sorts. This is I mean, there's been console shortages since consoles have come out, but usually they subside after a while with like exceptions like the Wii, for example. Like that was really hard to find for a very long period of time. But usually eventually it just subsides. We're in an artificial kind of scarcity situation right now, brought on by what's going on, for the last 2 years in the world here. So once that kind of subsides, eventually this will sort of correct itself. They are ramping up production, of course, as well too. So it's kind of a self-correcting problem. Now that doesn't help somebody that's trying to find a console right now, obviously. But I will say a couple of things. For one, I was able to find a PlayStation 5. I don't have a PlayStation 5 anymore, but I was able to find one relatively easy within about a week, not even of active looking for it. So I was able to find one. It takes some determination to get it, but I was able to find one. And then the other factor is it too is, I mean, really, I mean, I know there's always this drive to get a new console when it first comes out, but that's sort of the emotional side of it in your brain, but logically speaking, there's really not much of a reason to own a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X or any of these. I mean, you can get a PlayStation 4 relatively easily, or an Xbox One, or Xbox One X, and you'll be just as happy, if not more happy, than someone that has a PlayStation 5 or a Series X. There's really nothing to play on these systems that you can't already play on your current gen systems. There's so many cross-gen games anyways too. So I mean, really, I would say you're not really missing out on much, if anything, at this point. So, that's kind of my opinion. I hate the idea of just oh well, we can just legislate away all of our problems. It's never worked. This is kind of a grandstanding type of thing. Hopefully it doesn't pass. Hopefully this is another thing where they just kind of bloviate about it, and they kind of forget about this.
So with that first, I actually am a fan of this bill. I personally would like to see that happen. Now, mind you, you have said that
And I will say also too, just to add another point, the way I'm reading this bill, it's very vague. And whenever a government bill is put out and it's very vague, that's frightening, to say the least.
I'll go ahead and read this from Congress.gov. And again, all of the sources and all the news that we talk about and everything we talk about is always in the description, so you can always follow along with us. But from Congress.gov, and it's pretty much, this is a similar bill because they've been working on it for many years, because with scalpers, even for concert tickets and stuff. But they're pretty much applying this same bill that was worked in 2016. They're pretty much applying the same principles to this. Pretty much the Grinch spots that they're talking about. It's Better Online Ticket Sales Act of 2016, or BOTS Act of 2016, quote unquote, from that. Quote, Section 2. This bill prohibits the circumvention of a security measure, access control system, or technological measure on an internet website or online service of a ticket issuer that is used to enforce posted event ticket purchasing limits, or to maintain the integrity of posted online ticket purchasing order rules for a public event with an attendance capacity exceeding 200 persons. The bill also prohibits the sale or offers to sell an event ticket in interstate commerce obtained through such a circumvention violation if the seller participated in, had the ability to control, or should have known about the violation. It shall not be unlawful, however, to create or use software or systems, investigate or further the enforcement or defense of alleged violations, or identify and analyze flaws and vulnerabilities of security measures to advance the state of knowledge in the field of computer system security, or to assist in development of computer security products. Violations shall be treated as unfair or deceptive acts or practices under the Federal Trade Commission Act. The bill provides authority to the Federal Trade Commission and states to enforce such violations. Again, it's talking about you use bots, you're going to be in trouble. At least that's how I'm reading it. And if I'm wrong, I'm okay to be. I'll be wrong. But again, scalpers are scum of the earth. I despise scalpers, especially what has happened. Like, I got extremely lucky that I was able to get both consoles. And the thing is about with, you say that, you don't need a PS5. You don't need a PS5, you just need a PS4, and you'll be good. Which you are correct. Like, honestly, that, like, even with,
I mean, the same thing's happening in the PC world right now. Right now, it's very hard to find a good, like, super top of the line graphics card unless you buy, like, pre-built.
Exactly.
But the thing is, do you really need that at the end of the day? That's kind of my question. Is this really necessary? Is this just a fear of missing out? Like, you want to get the flavor of the month kind of thing? Like, you want to just, you want to be an early adopter?
Mm-hmm. With this, with the PC market, I
And I wonder
feel
how they enforce this too. Like, how do you enforce this? Like, I mean, and a lot of websites already have things that they have in place that will
yeah.
discourage scalping already. You know.
I was gonna bring that up is that like for instance during Black Friday, GameStop got a massive amount of restock, and the only way you could get the PS5 or Series X is only in store, and you had to buy it in a bundle. So it's just you couldn't just spend $500. Here's a PS5 or Series X. You pretty much got multiple games, and for Xbox you got a headset, and for PlayStation you got like a year of plus, and you got a $100 gift card to GameStop and all that kind of stuff. In this bundle, so you had to spend like $800+ but you're getting a full package. You're not just like here's the system. It's everything you need to just here's the thing, you're done, bam, games plus slash live, like everything. um and that also that's a way to deter scalpers, where like because they just want to go ahead and get the thing that they can spend money from. You can get the games easily. It's literally just the console. So them spending a scalper spending 800 850 on this bundle just to get the PS5, they're either going to equal out or maybe make a tiny bit of profit, maybe $100 $200 tops. That's a way that GameStop was kind of deterring that. Now again, those were gone instantly. There were people waiting in line the day before getting these consoles. So, and again, it's because these are in high demand. Also, we got many restocks and stuff and retailers are trying to figure out a way to handle the scalpers and the bots better. I mean, hell, even common people are going on YouTube or going to Google or whatever, asking, how do I make a bot myself? So that way they can do the same thing that the scalpers are doing, and da 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 da. I don't know how I feel about that. But the other thing that I will say, so that like first, that's why I hate scalpers suck with that, and retailers are trying to find a way to mitigate that. But it is still a problem. It's still a massive problem, even with these things they're trying to do. It is definitely better to just you have to go to stores in order to buy it. You can't go online or anything like that. That's a way to take the bots completely out of the equation. The other thing that I do have to bring up why the scalpers are terrible is because these consoles are not if we look back at 2013 when the PS4 first came out, we had a similar problem, but we didn't have these bots and scalpers. Well, of course there were scalpers of that time, but bots weren't the bots themselves. Scalpers have been around since time memorial. There've been scalpers for tickets to shows and go see a wrestling show or a Packer game or concert, whatever.
Yeah.
So scalpers have been around forever. Even as you said, limited run, that kind of thing. The other thing that I have to say is that we don't have these systems out in the wild. Like back in 2014, when the PS4 first came out, it took about a year. It took about up until from 2013 to 2014, maybe halfway through 2015, where you could go into any store, a GameStop, Best Buy, Target, whatever. You could go into a store and go, I want a PS4, and you could buy it and be done. You're like, hey, I got my system, I'm ready, I want to play games, bam. It did take, about a year, but it pretty much was about a year where you could just go into the wild and get a system, get a PS4. But we didn't have the bots and everything like we do today. Also, add on top of it, when we had the pandemic in 2020 with the chip shortage and everything, so that adds another thing.
Yeah, which we're still that's really where a lot of this shortage really is coming from still.
Mm-hmm. We're still playing catch up from that, and that's with tech in general. That's not just consoles. That's cars and microwaves and fridges and computers and phones and everything, because it's like one or two conglomerates are making all of the chips of ever. So there's that. But the point I'm trying to get to is, because I believe, as you said, Get a PS4. You don't need a PS5. You can play pretty much almost everything. The only games that are only on PS5 is Deathloop, Returnal, and Demon Souls. Those are PS5 only games.
Well, Deathloop is also on PC too, but yeah.
No, well, regardless, they're only on PS5. You can't get a PS4.
Actually, probably the best true PlayStation exclusive right now is probably Astro's Playroom. That was actually a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
A very short game, packing game, but it is a lot of fun.
I agree. But the thing is that the plan was, I think we talked about this in the last episode, where they PlayStation wanted God of War Ragnarok, Gran Turismo 7, and Horizon Forbidden West to be PS5 exclusives, to be only on PS5. But there was a lot of pushback from the fans, and I understand. I understand where it's coming from, and I do agree with the fans where they're like, no, we want it on, put it on PS4. We want to be able to play this on PS4, and it's because, whether people they just are waiting on the PS5 for whatever reason, or you just can't get one. You can't get it on the PS5. So it also, with these scalpers, is kind of not halting, but slowing down PlayStation moving into the next generation of consoles. Because, of course, we have that transition time where you have many games are they're on PS4 and PS5 and da-da-da-da-da-da. But there will come a time where games will be made only on PS5 and Series X, making and opening that, using the full power of those systems and not being held back by the past gen consoles. Now the cool thing is that a lot of the games that are being made currently aren't really held back by the PS4, maybe outside of graphically. They're still and they're the games are going to look gorgeous on both the PS4 and the PS5. It's just on the PS5 you have ray tracing. On the PS4 you don't. There's just a few nuances about it, but I honestly do say within maybe 2 to 3 a few years from now, hopefully this problem is fixed and we can go into the wild and get a PS5 easily, but currently we can't, and I feel that it's slowing down the process of the console makers to switch generations. The developers to make games that they want to make using the full power of the PS5 or the Series X because of how hard it is to find those consoles.
I mean, I guess I could agree with that. I mean, it's definitely obviously there's less people with them. I mean, but then again, I mean, the systems still are selling rather quickly
Oh,
still
yeah.
too, even with all the scalping problems.
I mean, the PS5 is already outselling the PS4.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, whether that you put the scalpers into it, but I mean, regardless, the PS5. The good thing on PlayStation's end, and this is a great thing. There have been much more restocks of the PS5 than there has been of the Series X, and that sucks for Xbox, I will say. But the good thing for and mind you, the PS5 has been more in demand, and people want PS5s, and PlayStation has put pretty much all of their power into making PS5s. They're literally throwing all of their resources into making more systems, and that's a good thing. I'm glad that that's the case, and we are getting more restocks. It just sucks that when we get these restocks, they're still gone just like that. So yeah. Anything else, Spectre?
No, that's about all I have to say on that.
Okay. Well, then let's move on. Next topic. Josef Fares, the maker of It Takes Two, is claimed by Take-Two Studios. This is, in my opinion, ridiculous. So, from an article from Eurogamer, Josef Fares' It Takes Two is hit by a Take-Two claim. So, from Eurogamer. Quote, It Takes Two, the latest game from brothers A2 sons Josef Fares, and Josef Fares also did A Way Out, which is another amazing game, has been hit by a trademark claim from Grand Theft Auto parent company Take-Two. The acclaimed co-op puzzler about a pair of divorced parents was struck by a trademark claim before its release earlier this year, and it has emerged. Records show developer Hazelight subsequently abandoned ownership of the name. In a statement from Eurogamer this week, a Hazelight spokesperson said the studio, quote, cannot comment on ongoing disputes, but the team was hopeful it would be resolved. Still, Hazelight did not dispute it. A dispute it had been forced to abandon the trademark to its game because of Take-Two, something which can be seen in the notice of abandonment sent to the U.S. Patent Office shortly after Take-Two's claim was filed. The team also did not comment on how this had impacted Hazelight's ability to sell or market It Takes Two currently, any plans to rename the game, or ideas for any potential sequel. Take-Two declined to comment when contacted by Eurogamer. It Takes Two is the latest victim in a volley of trademark and copyright claims from the publisher Take-Two, just one of dozens issued this year against a wide array of businesses and products. Patent Office records show that Take-Two is behind filings to contest numerous names with connections to the words Rockstar, Social Club, Mafia, Civilization, and more. These include a Beijing company's trademark of the brand Star Rocks, the name of the clothing brand Max Fane, plus numerous restaurants, tattoo parlors, and other small businesses who had used the word Rockstar in their games. Quote, think like a rock star, a brand behind music books for live performances, abandoned its trademark after Takes-Two legal claim. Rockstar Axe Throwing, a Florida-based axe throwing company, is meanwhile trying to oppose Take-Two's trademark grab, though it is one of many who is caught in a messy series of extensions and challenges. And then so on and so on. Pretty much, yeah, so. It's stupid. It's really stupid. I'll end with this last part and then I'll have you ask about this. It's these tactics, back to the article, quote, it's these tactics video games industry lawyer Richard Hogue has said, which Take-Two frequently uses to extract concessions from applicants. Quote, you can start to see applicants preemptorily limit their own applications to try to avoid getting extended out, Hogue said, host of the Virtual Legality podcast. As well as plenty of folk with legitimate applications simply choosing not to fight by defaulting on the opposition. If you look at the trial and appeals board, you can see that Take-Two has filed at least extension requests for 25 challenges in the last 3 months. Most other game companies go back 6 or 7 years to get that number. Take-Two is being very, very aggressive. It Takes Two, by comparison, isn't a company name. It's of limited use in any event due to the sheer number of goods and services that already use the phrase. I would suspect they simply wind up going untrademarked and relying on copyright. Take-Two lawyers have been busy going after fan-made GTA mods. So yeah. So it's stupid. That's what I think. So
yeah, it really is.
it's stupid. So Spectre, please go ahead and talk to me. What do you think? Get something.
Yeah, it just seems like such a frivolous thing. I mean, it's like, who cares? I mean, it's just to argue over I don't even really understand it. Like, just because the name is somewhat similar, and it's just like it's such a common phrase, though. It seems so absurd. I hope this just gets thrown out. I mean, I don't see any logical basis for this other than just being like, oh, maybe we can get some money out of this or something.
It's ridiculous. Like, they're going after like Social Club, Rockstar, like just yeah. You have Rockstar Studios. Why can't? So you're saying that like Saints Row can't go ahead and like say Rockstar or Borderlands or whatever? Social Club is you like another company wants to use it for like Twitter. Are you gonna like is Twitter if Twitter wants to make a social club or Facebook's Meta whatever it's called wants to make a social club or like that kind of thing? Like, are you kidding me? Like, and like it's not even the same name. It's not It Take Two. It takes two. It's not. It's like there's an S in there. It's not even the
Yeah,
same
it's
exact
not even like the
name.
exact same.
And it's a game. It's a game. It's not even a brand. It's a game. It's a product. It's one singular thing. If that is the case, if they're trying to go ahead and trademark or copyright Rockstar Energy Drink, which I'm pretty sure is not made by them. Are you gonna sue the guys who make Rockstar Energy Drink? Like what? What? Like I don't know. This is ridiculous. It's so dumb and stupid and just anyway. That It Takes Two also I'm gonna be is another game I need to be playing for that. But anyway, you want to move on from this idiocy?
Yeah, please.
Thank you. All right. Next topic. PlayStation is working on a new service to compete with Xbox Game Pass. So this comes from Bloomberg, an article by Jason Schreier, very, very well-known, acclaimed journalist in the video game industry. I very much respect his journalistic ability. So PlayStation plans new service to take on the Xbox Game Pass. From Bloomberg, quote, Sony Group Corp's PlayStation division is planning a new subscription service to compete with rival Microsoft Corp's popular Xbox Game Pass, according to people familiar with Sony's plans and documents retrieved by Bloomberg. The service, codenamed Spartacus, will allow PlayStation owners to pay a monthly fee for access to a catalog of modern and classic games, said the people who asked not to be identified because they weren't authorized to speak to the press about the plans. The offering will likely be available on the smash hit PS4, a PlayStation 4, which has sold more than 116 million units, and its elusive successor, the PlayStation 5, which launched more than a year ago, but is still difficult to buy due to supply chain issues, which we have already discussed. Back to the article. When it launches, expected in the spring, the service will merge Sony's two existing subscription plans, PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now. Currently, PlayStation Plus is required for most online multiplayer games and offers free monthly titles, while PlayStation Now allows users to stream or download older games. Documents reviewed by Bloomberg suggest that Sony plans to retain the PlayStation Plus branding, but phase out PlayStation Now, which, just to side note, we have talked about this on Dualshock'd. We have talked about how PlayStation Now and what it is and how the branding of it and kind of the promoting of PlayStation Now has not connected and has not landed and I think it's because of the Gaikai problems, and they got it up, and it was such a just a horrible launch and many, many problems for years and years and years.
Yeah, no, I mean this was kind of something that was inevitable. I mean, you basically had, I mean, Game Pass is a popular service on Xbox. Nintendo kind of has their own version of the Game Pass in a way with the Nintendo Online subscription, which is being expanded out. Yeah, I mean, for me, this really is not something for me. I mean, in the same way that PlayStation Plus is not for me, just for going on off of my personal opinion. For a multitude of reasons. For one, I don't like. I don't like the idea of subscription services. I know that's kind of become just sort of the thing that everybody has now, but I try to keep the ones that I have to a bare minimum. I don't like the idea of just having a portion of my income just scooped away from me for something frivolous every month like that. I'd rather just have a little bit more control over what I want to buy and when I want to buy it. In terms of what it offers, actually, I mean, just use. I mean, obviously, we don't know exactly what they're going to offer on their version of Game Pass just yet, but going off of kind of the gold standard with Xbox, with what they offer, it's really when you actually break it down, there's not a whole lot to it. It's a lot of older games. I mean, of course, there's newer games added onto it as well too. Which your mileage will vary on those, but a lot of it's a lot of older games. It's the bulk of it really is old games. We're talking 5 years plus old that you've probably already played. I think it's one of those things where maybe it's better for you if you're maybe just getting in. You missed out on gaming for the last 10 plus years or so. You missed out on the last generation or two, and you want to experience a lot of games very quickly. I think it's a great service for you. Then this is a great way to do it. It's sort of like one of those, back in the day, and back when you had rental stores, they had those like rental plans where you could just rent a whole bunch of things, and it's similar to that. So I think that's it's good for some people, it's not good for others. In terms of what it's going to offer for older games too, if they because we mentioned PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, etc. I'm concerned that it's just going to be certain first party titles. Like they're not going to really have any obscure games on here. It's just going to be big first party titles that we've all played already. You're not going to see any there's some really rare games on PlayStation 2 they could put on there, like really obscure ones, but I don't think we're really going to see any of those. And really, honestly, nowadays, I mean, with where not that I'm saying everyone should just do emulation, but with where emulation is at, I mean, it's very, very simple. It takes zero skill or technical knowledge really to get these games up and running. On whether, and it doesn't even have to even be on a PC. You can run these games on, a jailbroken like 3DS or Vita or any variety of other platforms. I mean, it's these games are very easy to run, and they're very easy to just find around online essentially at this point. I think if you're going to resell us these games or ask us to pay for these games again, I mean, a lot of these games I still have. I just have the physical copies of them still because I collect them. If you're going to resell this game to me, make it something like a remake where you're actually changing the game to such a point where it's worth my while to pay for it again. I mean, I don't know. This service really isn't for me in the same way that Game Pass isn't for me. But I mean, your mileage will vary. It depends on who you are. If you're someone that really has not played a bunch of the big blockbuster games from the last 10 years or so, 10, 15 years or so, then yeah, this is probably a good deal for you. But for me or for anyone else that games on a regular, consistent basis that has played a lot of these games already, I don't really see the benefit of it. And I mean, I mean, you can get deals for it. I'm sure there'll be deals and stuff like that. And maybe you won't be paying full price for it, but eventually those will go away to some degree. So I don't know. It's just really not for me. I don't know. What are your thoughts on it?
I before I go ahead and give my opinion on this, it does state in the Bloomberg article, deals on Spartacus may still not be finalized, but documentation reviewed by Bloomberg outlines a service with 3 tiers. The first would include the existing plus benefits. The second would offer a large catalog of PS4 and eventually PS5 games. And the third tier would add extended demos, game streaming, and a library of classic PS1, PS2, PS3, and PSP games. A representative for PlayStation didn't immediately respond to a request for comment. So again, for all we know, it could be different. It could these are not finalized. We honestly do not know when this is happening, what the details are. We may probably, if they plan on putting this out in 2022 of next year, I believe this will be announced during the PlayStation showcase that they would do next year, because this is a huge deal. And like what we saw this year, what we saw last year, the new PlayStation showcase that they have been doing has been like the biggest thing. This is where like, all right, here are all the big guns, go. So first, my opinion of this is exactly what PlayStation needs. They need to compete against Game Pass, because yeah, for me personally, like, I'm a collector. I buy physical games. Like, even on Xbox, like, I'm going to be buying Halo Infinite Campaign. I could play that on Game Pass if I wanted to, but I want the physical game. And that's because I'm a collector, and I like having the physical disc and putting it in and stuff like that. But not everyone is like me. And and I know like you don't like subscription services. I don't mind. It depends on how, although it depends on how many subscription services you stack on to blah 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 blah, because then it piles up.
Yeah, and I'm very unusual in that regard. I'll admit. I mean, really, the only subscription I have that I mean, I have access to, a couple of streaming things. I don't really watch a lot of streaming services myself, but really the only subscription service that I pay for and have paid for years has been Amazon Prime. And that's mostly just been for the shipping. Not I never watch Amazon Video really. So
No,
and the rewards from like the gaming rewards for it are somewhat useful here and there, but yeah, that's really the one subscription I pay for is Amazon Prime. That's about it.
And so with this, I will say the one point that I will say about the best part about the Xbox Game Pass is that you also get day one games. You get games that come out. You get Psychonauts 2 at launch, day one, right away. You get Forza Horizon 5, day one. You get Halo Infinite, the campaign, day one. Everything that comes out that you can still buy it physically, like just the one game at day one, it also comes to Game Pass day one, and you can try it and that kind of thing. Now, what has been shown by the Game Pass is that most of the people who have Game Pass and use Game Pass, it is rare that they're really pretty much the time spent in a lot of games on Game Pass is only for a few hours. People will play on Sea of Thieves, play for a few hours, and then go, I don't want to play this. I'll play something else. I'll play something else. I'll play this. I'll play that. I'll move over here. It pretty much people go, I have the stuff I like. My Call of Duty, my sports game, my online multiplayer game. Like Spectre. Is there a game that you kind of like go back to over and over, or you're like, I'm bored, I'm gonna go play this like single player game, like whether it's from the past or you play this game multiple times and you've beaten it multiple times.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, there's classic games that I go back to like that. Yeah,
and like even for me, like
and I'll say to your point, I mean, to be fair to it, I mean, if you are someone that really likes a lot of the kind of like day one games that come out, like you're really into like all the like Forza or Halo, for example, then it might be kind of a decent deal then. That's where you sort of make up the cost of it. I mean, because remember, you're paying for this monthly.
Exactly.
Assuming that you can't find a deal or anything for it, you are paying for this monthly. So that is where you can sort of make up a bit of that cost.
Yeah. And I will say that is, in my opinion, that has been the best thing that Xbox has made. Now, what the advantage that PlayStation has is similar to Nintendo is their many, many, many years of just PlayStation exclusive, like the entire backlog of PS1, PS2, PS3, and PSP games they want to put on this. That's a huge library. If you take all those libraries are massive. They're huge. And having those libraries for a PlayStation Plus Game Pass, whatever they want to call it. Please call it something else. Please don't call it PlayStation Plus Game Pass. Like, then you're just going to confuse people.
PlayStation Plus Now.
No, that's even worse. But all I'm saying is whatever Game Pass competitor that PlayStation makes, they have the backlog library to really be like, hey, you want to play all, like, because one of the things that even you asked for and even I agree with, that like the PS5 needs, like, yes, it's backwards compatible to the PS4, but if we can play PS1, PS2, like really kind of like I in my opinion, I believe the reason why we don't have just the entire backlog where you can just, I'm going to throw in any disc from any PlayStation generation, PS1, PS2, PS3, whatever, is because PlayStation are still paying for the sins of the PS3, where they made proprietary core processor that was only made by them and was hard to develop for, and
I
all of the
disagree with
crap.
that. I think that's an excuse. I disagree with that. I mean, emulation has come so far on for PlayStation 3 games, so I disagree with that. And they've made emulators and stuff before they put on their own systems, so I think it's a cop out. I think it's just at the end of the day they don't see it as they've said to themselves they don't see it as a priority to put on backwards compatibility. They
But this,
I think part of the motivation is they do want to it's the Skyrim syndrome. They want to
yeah,
resell us these old games that we bought 5 times already
yeah,
to us again.
yeah.
Just like Skyrim did this year. They had another version of Skyrim come
Yep.
out that you could buy.
Yep. Now
I
it's
think
playable on the PS5 and Series X. It's the anniversary edition or whatever it's called.
Yeah. So I think that's part of the motivation here too, is that for one they realize that backwards compatibility would be an extra cost for the system.
Hmm.
It would be it's just overall extra development cost.
Yeah.
And maybe a hardware cost as well too. And the other side of it too is like, why let people play these old games, kind of you know like how Microsoft does, when you can resell these old games to them. That's how kind of Nintendo sees it. And I think that's kind of how PlayStation sees it as well too, or Sony sees
Hmm.
it.
Yeah.
You could just resell these old games to people.
I do think though is that if they are going backwards compatibility, they're like having a subscription service creates that. Well, now we can make money off of it. Now it's more feasible for us to do that. But I'm down for it. I look forward to seeing this. But yeah, anything else from you, Spectre?
No, that's it for that.
Great. Let's move into the main topic. Let's talk about our PlayStation conversation. PlayStation. All right. So, Game Awards season is here. So the Game Awards will be happening on December 9th. That is this coming Thursday. I believe the pre-show is at 7 Eastern. And then the main show is at 8 Eastern. So for us, we're in Central Time. So that'll be 6 for the pre-show, 7 for the main show. We will be going live at 6. We'll be doing a watch along, a reaction. We'll be watching the whole Game Awards. Spectre, I think you'll be here with me watching that also.
Oh yeah,
for better and for worse.
I would say I'm looking forward to it, but I don't want to lie to
you. And if you live over on the West Coast, over in California, I believe so. If it's 6, 4, I believe it's at 4 because it's there. So yeah, 4, yeah, something like that. Anyway, so yeah, so let's go ahead and kind of we're gonna talk. What we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about we're gonna talk about a few of the categories, in the Game Awards. We're going to do our predictions and kind of talk about this. So, let's just start off with Game of the Year. So, for the Game Awards for Game of the Year, they have the nominees for Game of the Year in the Game Awards is Deathloop by Arcane Studios and Bethesda, It Takes Two by Hazelight Studios and EA, Metroid Dread by Mercury Steam and Nintendo, Psychonauts 2 from Double Fine and Xbox Game Studios, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart from Insomniac Games and Sony Interactive Entertainment, and Resident Evil Village from Capcom. So, Spectre, from this... First, what do you think of the nominees, and then who do you think is going to win?
Well, let me pull up my stuff here again for that. In terms of what I think of the nominees, not that much. Not I'm not terribly impressed by them, to be honest with you. It's I got them in front of me here right now. I mean, really out of this list, I mean, it was really hard for me to even pick anything I could even root for or get behind. I guess I would probably, for me, my personal kind of like, I wouldn't mind seeing Resident Evil win. I mean, it seems like it's from what I'm playing of it so far, it seems like it's a pretty decent entry. Aside from that, what I think it'll go to, I don't know. I don't think it'll go to It Takes Two. I don't think it'll go to Psychonauts 2. So I think it's really between these, Dread, Ratchet and Clank, Resident Evil, and Deathloop. I think it's between those 4.
Okay.
If I was a betting man. And of those four, I would probably say it might go to Ratchet. There's a decent chance it goes to Resident Evil. I think I'd be the only one I'd be disappointed to see it really go to would be like Deathloop, um,
Mm-hmm.
because I think that's in there to that's kind of a pandering vote of sorts that they're putting in there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so really honestly, this is a pretty weak lineup. I mean, last year was totally different. I mean, you had multiple games that were really enjoyable. This year, I'm struggling to find anything I even care about. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's be honest. 2021 was a bad year for gaming. It just was a really slump year. I mean, you have a couple of notable highlights, but I mean, it was just kind of blah,
I
kind of
mean,
forgettable.
yeah, I mean, mind you, when we get to next year, God, geez, February, screw me. Like, Jesus Christ, just Horizon Forbidden
Well,
West and Elden Ring, and oh my God. And then God of War Ragnarok comes out next year. Oh my God. Um, but yeah, so for me, currently, and again, I'm gonna be playing through a lot of other games like It Takes Two and Deathloop and all of that. I've played through Metroid Dread, very good game. Um, but that I wouldn't choose that one. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, phenomenal game, and it shows off the PS5 the best. Like just what it can do and everything. It's just fluidity throughout that game. Just no load screens, just straight up and down. You're starting the game, you're playing, go. Um, but and for me personally, currently Psychonauts 2, as I said earlier in the show, Psychonauts 2 would be my personal pick for game of the year. But if I'm a betting man, so predicting, I think it's between Deathloop and Resident Evil Village. And I feel that Village is going to win. I feel that Village is going to be the winner of that
I
because
think so. I think so too. Like to some degree, like I think as much as I'm fearful that they'll pick Deathloop just because of, like I said, a pandering vote. I think at the same time, um, they're going to pick something that's actually to some degree popular.
mm-hmm. I mean, but I mean, again, I haven't played. I need to play through Deathloop in order to have my own opinion on it. And even with Village, but from um, Village is a great game. Like it's just with the horror aspect and gameplay, and you can fast track yourself through the game, or you can like take hours and do the full thing. Like there is a speed run of it. Apparently, you can beat it like I believe I heard you could beat in like 2 to 4 hours or something. Like it's crazy. Um, so I would predict that Resident Evil is going to win. Um, the next category I want to talk about is best game direction, and the nominees for this is Deathloop, It Takes Two, Returnal from Housemarque and Sony Interactive Entertainment, Psychonauts 2, and Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Um, for
Actually, here I'll follow along with you on the actual website here. I gotta do my. This will be fun. I gotta do my voting anyway, still too. So
oh yeah, yeah,
I'll kind of as I follow along, I'll do my vote.
yeah, no, you're good. Um, so and I'm not. Don't worry, we're not going through the whole like thing. We're just going to be doing like pretty much ones that I believe are the biggest ones. But best game direction is between Deathloop, It Takes Two, Returnal, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet and Clank. Um, best game direction is awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. Pretty much, it's like the way the game is made. The like with okay, you're playing this product. Like how holy crap! I've never played a game like this before. And for me, that's Psychonauts 2. Again, that's Psychonauts 2. I was talking about this in my quick review is that like just the way platforming is implemented and just the art design and all of that, it's Psychonauts 2 for me. Now, what I predict will win? It hmm, what I predict that, the jury would choose. And we'll talk about the kind of our opinions on the Game Awards itself. I feel that they would go with. I feel that it would be It Takes Two or Deathloop. feel. I think that's what I would kind of go with as and what would actually win. Spectre, what do you think?
I God, I wouldn't really care.
Just choose one.
Hopefully, yeah, It Takes Two. I would probably pick, I guess.
Great. I'm so glad that you care as much as I do. Best narrative for outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game. There are a lot of repetitions in this. So best narrative is for in the nominees are Deathloop, It Takes Two, Life is Strange: True Colors from Deck Nine and Square Enix, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy by Eidos Montreal and Square Enix, and Psychonauts 2. Best narrative. Now, game of the year. The looking at this, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy and Life is Strange is not part of game of the year. And I believe the case is with Life is Strange, it's a heavily narrative driven game. Like the gameplay of it is very much you're participating in the story, but you're not active in the gameplay, if that makes any sense. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, on the other hand, is very much a video game. You're doing stuff in combat and that kind of thing. I love Psychonauts. Like, as I said, Psychonauts 2, game of the year, and the narrative of Psychonauts 2 is amazing. But for me personally, when it comes to its narrative, the game that kind of just has stuck in my head more and more has been Guardians of the Galaxy. And that would be my personal choice. Now, which one do I think wins best narrative? I feel that it's It Takes Two. I feel that best narrative is It Takes Two.
Sure. Take it.
I'm so glad I brought you onto the show, Spectre. God, Jesus.
Like I said, it was just like it was a dull year.
You're useless
I'm going
to
for
me.
the rest of these I'm going for the rest of these categories right now. It's just like, ugh,
you're useless to me. God, Jesus Christ. All right. A few more. Best art direction for outstanding creative and/or technical achievement in artistic design and animation. The Artful Escape by Beethoven and Dinosaur and Anna Perna. Deathloop, Kena Bridge of Spirits by Amber Lab, Psychonauts 2, and Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Best art direction? I feel that it's going to be Kena. That's the one I believe. That would be my choice also.
It does have a very distinct visual style to it, so I'll give it that, I like how you said we're not going for all the categories, and you proceed to go for all the categories.
I'm almost done. I'm almost done. I'm not going
There's
through
30
the whole.
categories.
Yeah, and I just went through 3, 4 of them tops.
You don't seem like you're gonna stop.
Shut up. Look, best score in music is between Artful Escape, Cyberpunk 2077. Cyberpunk 2077 is best score in music. I'm like, why are you even here? I mean, the music is good, but I'm like, wow, really? You're part of this? Okay. Yeah, Deathloop, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Near Replicant. For me, I've been listening to the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack, and it's great.
I'll bet you have.
But yeah, let's see. Just a few more, and then we'll be done. So best audio design is between Deathloop, Forza Horizon 5 by Playground Games and Xbox Game Studios, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, Resident Evil Village, and Returnal. This one straight up and down has to be Forza Horizon 5. Half it, period. Forza Horizon 5 is just so good.
Was that even on there? I missed
Yeah,
that.
best audio design. This is recognizing the best in-game audio and sound design. So it's not the soundtrack; it's the gameplay. It's like how the game sounds overall. I think that makes sense.
I think so.
Okay. And last, best performance is Erica Mori as Alex Chen from Life is Strange True Colors. Giancarlo Esposito as Anton Castillo from Far Cry 6. Jason Kelly as Colt Vaughn from Deathloop. Maggie Robertson as Lady Dimitrescu from Resident Evil Village. And I'm sorry, I apologize if I messed this up. Azioma Akaga as Juliana Blake from Deathloop. This is really good. Erica Mori as Alex Chen is really good, but Giancarlo Esposito as Anton from Far Cry 6. God, that's a great villain. That's a great villain.
Yeah, I mean, I remember him in Breaking Bad. I don't know if you into that series at all, or
No, but he's in Mandalorian, and it's awesome. He's great. He's just I'm
it?
the bad guy. I love it.
Oh, he's in Mandalorian. I
Yeah,
haven't watched that.
dude, he just has been cast as bad guys. It's great. He's so good.
Cool.
Great. Okay.
Yeah, like I say, this is just apathy, the award show. I can't. I mean,
And I'll be having you on it.
Maybe they'll have some kind of like surprise announcement or something that'll be interesting. I mean,
So I want to discuss a few things before we end this. So the jury for the Game Awards, and I know people have kind of talked about this, and I want to know your opinion on this. So it has been like this for the past few years, but the award process pretty much is that the award jury is 90% of the game media, so it's IGN, Kotaku, Eurogamer, GameSpot, like all of the big guys and other big name YouTubers and other like people inside of the video game media. So 90% of that plus 10% of the fans. So we do get a say, but it's only 10%, which is a very, very small amount, almost to the point of it almost doesn't matter. But the thing is that we are still taken into consideration into part of the vote. So that 10%, depending on how close a vote is, that 10% could sway the vote. I'm not saying it does, but it can be a possibility. So, and the reason that they choose, like, why don't fans completely choose the winners? This is from the Game Awards themselves. They say creating a 100% fan vote presents several challenges. First, given that some games are exclusive to one platform, a public vote puts single platform games at an inherent disadvantage over multi-platform titles. In addition, it is important that winners cannot be socially engineered in any way. We find that a blended vote is the most credible and authentic way to select winners. Understandable, but also it's 10%. Like, if you made it more like, 60-40, 70-30, I understand that because, like, there's such a thing as review bombing. And, this game, we saw that problem, last year. Last of Us Part 2 took away almost everything it got nominated for. But you and on the show, we even the members of the Brotherhood, we all had our differences on that game. It was a very polarizing game. I personally loved it. You absolutely hated it, Spectre. And I even know that there are members inside of the Brotherhood who work, make content and everything, who don't like Last of Us Part 2, but also loved it just as much as I did. But again, last year for 2020, we gave Ghost of Tsushima Game of the Year, and even in my opinion, that is Game of the Year. Like that game was better than Last of Us Part 2. But that was kind of a big thing. The other kind of takeaway with that being said is that a lot of critics and fans I've seen people are upset, like, why isn't Forza Horizon 5 nominated inside of Game of the Year, like in Game of the Year category? All 6 of those games are action adventure 3D like platform, like either platformers or heavily narrative driven games, like action adventure games. Metroid Dread, It Takes Two, Deathloop. Like it's very much a single player focused game. And again, like for me personally, that's mostly what I play. I rarely play multiplayer games, and even like I am honestly surprised at how good Forza Horizon 5 is. I would have never thought that game, like, oh my god, this should be in Game of the Year contention. Holy crap, this game is amazing. I would have never thought that. I'm like, oh, Forza Horizon. Oh, this is a good game. But, best racing game to come out the year, but not Game of the Year. But this year it is, surprisingly. So, I don't know. Kind of what do you think about how the jury is made and how it's done? Do you agree? Do you disagree?
Yeah, I mean, I can understand where they're coming from. I just, at the same time, I feel like it just feels like every other industry where you have this kind of this elite group of people that have kind of their conflicts of interest in here, and their preferences for certain games,
Mm-hmm.
they kind of dominate this discussion. I think it would be kind of a nice breath of fresh air, especially for what's supposed to be an interactive medium like video games, to have more of a fan voice in it. I mean, maybe you could have it like, something like you said, like 60-40, 50-50, something like that. I'm not saying that kind of a direct democracy approach to it is always good. It's usually not good. Um, but it'd be nice to, I mean, 10%, it's like, I mean, come on. Like, I mean, that just feels like a token thing. Like, who doesn't
Mm-hmm.
even count that 10%,
Mm-hmm.
Like like, has that ever, I'd be curious to know if that 10% has actually ever influenced or flipped a,
No, and again, we don't see how.
yeah, it's
We
not a
don't
very
see the stats.
transparent
We don't see the
process.
stats.
Yeah.
And the thing, here's the thing, because I brought this up to either you and I have talked about this, or just off camera, or to my friends or whatever, where the difference with the Game Awards compared to other award shows like the Oscars and Grammys and Tonys and all of the other ones is that those are the voting and everything is done by an academy. It's pretty much a select group of people who watch those movies or listen to that music, or listens to music or goes to Broadway shows or whatever, and then they decide amongst that academy what wins and whatever. And like even Joseph, who worked on It Takes Two and uh a way out and everything, he went ahead and said F the Oscars. He said fuck the Oscars, like like on the Game Awards. It was great. I loved it. He was drunk, but it was great. um
Yeah, we all remember that.
that was great. I loved it. That was great. But I will say with the Game Awards, yeah, the thing is, yes, we only get 10%, but at least we have some kind of say. It's not just, oh, it's the video game media and all of that. It is only 10%. I will say I wish that it was like, as I said, the it should not be a 50-50 cut between the fans and the media, because there is that whole review bombing and like, oh well, we don't like Last of Us Part 2, but it's an actual good game, but because of blah 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 blah, or whatever it would be, that you're just going to create, it just creates you're going to create more of a storm than there needs to be. um so I understand that, but I feel like it should be more like 70-30, 60-40, something like that, where we have more of a, our say matters more than 10%. But as I said, that 10%, depending on how close games could be, dictate. Now the other thing is that they do have player's choice. The game, like they finally put up the player's choice, and this is 100% fan picked. And what I like about this year, I don't know if they did it last year. I think they just kind of like took them and then here's all the games, vote, bam, done. What they're doing this year is that they're doing 3 rounds, and it is pretty much within this week. It's this week up until the Game Awards on the 9th of December 9th. Round 1 is finished, and pretty much you had 10 picks. You could choose between. It was like it's like 20, 30 games. It's tons of them. But you get 10 choices. And then I believe what they're going to do is that from an X amount of games, they're going to pretty much they're stripping away little by little. Okay, now we're down at because they're going to do round 2, and I think you'll get 5 picks instead of 10, but they'll all out of the top half of the games from round 1, they're going to split away the bottom half, and now you have the top half, and now you have to choose your top 5, and then you choose. And then by, with, analytics and all that, whatever your top 5, top 6, then you get your one choice. And then whichever one choice gets voted the most by the fans is the player's choice game. And I always find it fascinating. I'm very intrigued by.
Yeah, that's sort of like kind of the you could call it kind of the quasi-official game of the year. Then that's what like last year, for example. I mean, that's Ghost of Tsushima won that kind of Player's Choice award,
which made sense.
Which made perfect sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, weirdly, I'm looking because they also have like the percentage stats of all the games currently. The winning, as of recording, as of this time right now, the winning game is Halo Infinite. Now, the multiplayer is out right now, and you can play the multiplayer. And I feel that's why that's the leader because it's 7%. It's that and Resident Evil Village are the top 2 because they're both at 7%, and then after that it's Forza Horizon 5. It Takes Two at 6%, and then it goes down. Halo Infinite I do find interesting as of recording right now because the full game isn't even out yet. Because we haven't gotten the campaign.
Yeah, it's just the multiplayer.
It's just the multiplayer. And the multiplayer is amazing. It's, oh my god, it very much is.
I enjoy it. I haven't played it that much yet, but I'm enjoying it so far. It's kind of reminiscent of Reach.
Yeah, but like it's it's Halo. You're playing Halo when you're playing the multiplayer. It doesn't feel like, you're playing Halo, but it feels like Call of Duty or Battlefield. Like it very much you're playing Halo. Like it very much feels like, oh man, I'm back in the 2000s and playing Halo. Like that kind of thing. Just with more of a modern take on it. Side note, it's teabagging. When someone goes ahead and squats down, and when they kill you, and they come into your body, and they squat down, up and down, it's not twerking, it's teabagging. God, I'm old. What?
Who was calling it twerking?
Children who are playing this game, who are playing the multiplayer. Like, why? They're like, why are they twerking on my body? What? That's like, I never felt as old as I do right now when I heard that. When I heard that, I'm like, oh, it's called teabagging. Anyway, hi. But yeah, so that's the player's choice. And then two more things. First, one last category I forgot to bring up is most anticipated game. And I'll go ahead and pull up the categories for that. There we go. Most anticipated game is between Elden Ring from Software Bandai Namco, God of War Ragnarok from Sony Santa Monica, and Sony Interactive Entertainment, Horizon Forbidden West from Guerrilla and Sony, the sequel to Breath of the Wild, and Starfield. Mine is God of War. Elden Ring looks great. I'm ready for God of War.
Yeah, I'm right there with you for God of War. Elden Ring, like I said, I'm not a fan of the Soulsborne theme. I've never been. I don't believe you are either, really.
I mean, like I appreciate them, and I will be playing Elden Ring when it comes out. But
you
yeah,
play everything, so yeah.
But well, what am I what am I attracted to? What do I gravitate to? Yes, it's the God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West. Shut up. Shut up. It's those kind of games. The heavily narrative-driven third-person action-adventure game. One last thing that we will talk about, and then we'll go ahead and close out the show, is so Geoff Keighley does all the Game Awards. He's hosting the Game Awards. This has been his thing for years. We've had the Game Awards since, 2010? Like it's been a while. Was it like? It
I
was
think you're right. It's been over 10 years,
like
right?
it's
Yeah.
yeah, but 2014 I believe was the first, because what happened is that the first Game Awards that they did was very much, oh, let's get Samuel L. Jackson to announce Game of the Year, which is the video game version of Peter Jackson's King Kong. Like what? Why? It was very much, it felt extremely corporate, and it was just, oh, like it didn't feel like it made sense in the video game sphere, like what we like and what we know and stuff. And really, it felt in 2014, that's when Geoff Keighley got, made the jury and kind of has been doing what has been happening for the past few years.
Yeah,
Um, which
yeah,
feels
2014 kind of when it came about as we know about it. Yeah.
and they, if they actually have on the site, they have a history of the Game Awards, and the last one, so the earliest one you can go to is 2014. And it definitely felt more legitimate when they did. Now, I know people are like, oh, like, where do we get these ads? And it feels so corporate. Geoff Keighley loves video games. He loves this. And I applaud him for his hustle. And, like, I get it. Like, you have to go ahead and get, if you want to do what you're doing, get the star, get the presenters, get the orchestra. I'm going to go ahead. I want to get these bands who are doing music for future video games or current video games. I need to hire these, the bands and orchestra. I need to get this massive, auditorium, arena, whatever, like the set and everything. I also need to pay the developers and everyone to be like, hey, we're going to get reveals at the Game Awards, all of that kind of stuff. You had, like, that's money involved. So I do not blame him for being like, all right, so I'm going to go ahead and shell out blah. Now, it has been a bit more for the past few years, like, because it's just streamed on YouTube and Twitch and otherwise, it's a lot of, like, game companies are going to just putting their hat in, like, hey, throw an ad for this video game or this thing, and it feels more like, oh, okay, it feels more, it fits more. But I understand why people are like, oh, it feels corporate. But, like, I can't blame Geoff Keighley for his hustle and doing all that. Now, we are not going to jump into the rabbit hole of this situation today because we don't have enough time to. But since, like, middle of this year to beginning of this year, Activision has been in a lawsuit with California for sexual misconduct and many, many, many other terrible things happening at that publisher. We will probably talk about it on. We will most definitely talk about it on a future episode of Dualshock'd. But I wanted to bring this up because with everything that's happening with that, in an interview that Geoff Keighley had to promote the Game Awards, he had an interview with the Washington Post. And he talks about, this is from the Washington Post itself. From it, quote, the Game Awards are advised by a board. Let's see. Nope, I'm sorry. I jumped over the thing. I apologize. Where is it? Yes, okay. So the Game Awards. The Game Awards are advised by a board featuring several major companies across the industry, including Rob Kostic, who is the president of Activision Blizzard, a video game company that was sued by California's Department of Fair Employment and Housing in late July over complaints of gender-based discrimination and sexual harassment, and has come under fire from shareholders, employees, federal agencies, and most recently, gaming publishers and state treasurers. Keighley said that he is thinking about how to, quote, navigate the event's involvement with Activision Blizzard, just as a major game publishers have said they are re-evaluating their relationships with the company out of concern over the lawsuit's allegations and those reported in a Wall Street Journal article. This is from Geoff Keighley, quote, we want to support employees and developers. Keighley said, who added he supported people coming forward with their stories, but also didn't want to diminish developers' opportunities to spotlight their games. His quote, "We have to think very carefully about how to proceed from here," end quote. Um, so he's not taking a side. He's not saying I side with Activision, and he's not also going, well, no, screw them. While PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo, so Bowser, who's the head of Nintendo America, Phil Spencer, who is the head of Xbox, and Jim Ryan, who is the head of PlayStation America, all came out and said, we do not support this. We do not support Activision. We're reevaluating our relationship with them. Which makes sense. And I don't want to get too much into the weeds on this, because there's a lot to go through on this. But Geoff Keighley, pretty much in this article, he is pretty much kind of standing in the middle. He didn't take a side. He's pretty much just standing in the middle. Now, since that article, Geoff Keighley put out a tweet on December 3rd at 11:47. And I'll go in it. It's a thread. So here's what it said. Beyond his nominations, I can confirm that Activision Blizzard will not be a part of this year's Game Awards, or hashtag Game Awards. The Game Awards is a time of celebration for this industry, the biggest form of entertainment in the world. There is no place for abuse, harassment, or predatory practices in any company or any community. I also realize we have a big platform which can accelerate and inspire change. We are committed to that, but we all need to work together to build a better and more inclusive environment so everyone feels safe to build the world's best games. All of us are accountable to this standard. Incredible games and the talented developers who build them are who we want to celebrate. See you on Thursday. Which now he's going, well, we're not going to show anything from Activision Blizzard. I honestly don't see him talking about this whole thing on the show. I'd actually be more surprised if he did. I believe that he should. You don't need to go screw you, Activision. But just kind of you can even just kind of keep it very vague. And
why should he? What do you mean? What should he say? Why do you think he should say something?
Pretty much to repeat what he said here is that not like it's a time for celebration, big form entertainment. There's no place for there's no place for abuse, harassment, or predatory practices in any company or community. That pretty much you don't have if he's worried about his relationship with Activision, and honestly with all of the terrible stuff that I know it's all allegedly, but there's too many people and too many things that are coming out for this to just be a fluke. Geoff can keep it vague and pretty much say what he said in this tweet. This is very precise, but also poignant and
I mean, it's just some random platitude stuff that some corporate platitude type of stuff. He didn't say anything profound there. I don't think he really needs to weigh in on this. I mean, like I said, I forgive him for the whole I mean, he's got to. The show doesn't run itself. He's got to have, going back to that part of it. He's got to have sponsors. He's got to have people presenting things and ads and stuff like that. I understand that completely. I mean, it's kind of what he's known for. For better or for worse, it's his reputation is to be kind of a shill for stuff like this, and that's just kind of what he does. But I mean, he seems like. On the other hand, I see both sides of it. He seems like a genuinely nice guy. And I think there's part of him that does care about this stuff. But at the same time, I mean, it's also a business too, So I can't fault the man for that. He seems to know what he's talking about. In occasions where you've seen him when he's actually been interviewed and he's been cornered on stuff. I think he seems to know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
So I have a degree of respect for him for that.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of the Activision Blizzard thing. Like I said, we're not going to go into it here, but I don't think he really needs to comment on it. He's not. I mean, he's. It's funny. I was just about to say he's not the Pope. But yeah, it's kind of funny. I just was thinking that for a sec. But he's he always called him the
I
Doritos
know
Pope.
of what you mean. There's the picture.
Yeah, I just
years
that came
ago,
to my mind.
It's the Mountain
That came to
Dew
my
and
mind.
Dorito. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
know.
I 100% didn't even think about like I'm like I was just making like the analogy like, oh well, he's not the Pope, but then I just thought about, I'm like, wait a second, yeah, he kind of is.
I know. But
Yeah,
like,
so but my point is he's not a moral authority. He's not he's not a priest. He doesn't need to come out here and make his opinion known about things. Which he doesn't really. I mean, maybe he knows a little bit more than we do about it because he's worked directly with these people, but at the same time, he's not a lawyer. He's not privy to all of these claims, and he's not interviewing people from Activision and Blizzard on this subject, as far as I'm aware. So, I don't think he really needs to comment on this right now. I don't think anyone should be commenting on this until we know more about it. In general, I don't really have an opinion on it one way or the other just yet. Until I actually know more about it. I mean, all we have are a bunch of accusations right now, and not a lot of. I mean, this could go on for a while. There's going to be probably maybe like a, court cases involved in this. I mean, this is going to go on for a while, so I don't really have a comment or an opinion on it yet, and I'm not going to crucify the company here because of allegations. I think I still believe you're innocent until proven guilty. I think there's plenty of reasons to not like Blizzard anymore. Completely separate from this.
I agree.
I mean,
I agree.
I think the fact that they haven't made a good game really in 20 years almost now is that's plenty of reason not to like them. But I mean, it's aside. I don't think Keighley needs to come out and make a public statement on this. I don't think that's his role in this. I think he he did the right thing with that tweet.
And you're right. It's not. He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to. You are right. He does not have to. He could just go, all right, I put out the tweet. Activision Blizzard will not have anything on the show, which is to put good faith to the fans, which is good. I agree with that. Good job on him. And I mean, mind you, Activision's already in a load of crap right now. So I mean, like, and Jim Ryan and Phil Spencer and Bowser can all go ahead and be like, nah, screw you, Activision, because they're the big three. They're fine. They'll be fine. They'll be good. And mind you, like in Ubisoft is dealing with similar problems. It's just Activision has been getting the lawsuit. I will say I am surprised Ubisoft hasn't gotten. No one's talking about. Not a lot of people are talking about what's happening in Ubisoft, also because what's happening in Ubisoft is very similar to what's happening in Activision too, with the sexual harassment and the sexual misconduct and all that kind of thing. No, he doesn't have to. Geoff Keighley doesn't have to, but I would like him to. And again, I'm not saying, hey, come be like, all right, hey, everyone. Screw Activision. On to our next category, best esports. Like, no, like it.
I mean, if he wanted to come out and say anything, he should come out and say, you know what? Let's wait and see what actually happens here. We still believe in you're innocent until proven guilty. I know people there, and I know there's good people there. That's what he should be saying if he wanted to come out and say anything. He shouldn't be joining the mob here and just saying like, oh well, let's yeah, because we don't really know. We honestly don't know.
But we need to support like whatever has been the things that have happened to it, because it's the developers, it's the people, it's a lot of the corporate crap that has been happening there. That's where all of this is coming from. It's to support the developers and the people behind the game where they have been used and mistreated. That's where I'm like, what the hell?
So they say, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't work at Blizzard. I don't know what their circumstances are there.
I get it. Like, I get it. I just, God, there's
like, I mean, put it another way. If someone made an allegation against you, you probably would appreciate it that people didn't jump to the conclusion that, well, there's allegations against them. That means he must be he must be an evil person. Like let's wait and let's actually see what evidence there is to provide and what actually happened here.
It's just one of those things where if there's smoke, there's fire. There's too many. There's
Not
too many
necessarily.
things.
Not necessarily. No. Um, that's a very dangerous mentality. It's like I said, that's where the concept of like I said, innocent until proven guilty it came from. We don't really believe in that anymore. I don't think. I think we just as soon as someone's accused of something, we're immediately like, oh, let's hang them. Let's get rid of them. I think that's sad because that makes every one of us vulnerable. Because any one of us could be accused of any number of things. And if I'm in that situation, especially if I'm completely innocent of something, which I would be, I would want people to not just immediately, you know, hang me out to dry here because just because I had an accusation level against me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's sort of like it's like a witch trial s type of thing at that point where it's like, okay, we'll just accuse you of this and this and that, and who cares about evidence or what's actually true.
I honestly believe there's more to this, and again, I don't want to
I
fall
mean,
down
yeah,
this rabbit
possibly
hole right
yes. I
now.
mean, yeah, it seems like when you have, it is alarming when you have a large number of people um accusing somebody of something, but you have to remember that there's things for people to gain from this. I mean, it's we've been seeing this our whole lives, and even I mean, I remember back in the '90s, the big thing was the Michael Jackson stuff. I mean, how many accusers were there for him? Like, dozens.
But
And
you cannot belittle the people who have come forward to talk about this. What they're saying is valid. Also, it's again, it's
well, we'll see. We'll see if it's valid. I mean, it's we'll have to. That remains to be seen. Yeah. I mean, it's. I mean, to make an accusation like this is very serious, and I don't doubt that there are that's maybe some or all of them are very genuine. We don't really know. We have to wait and see, and we have to learn more. That should, but the thing is, you don't have headlines of let's wait and see what happens. It's always let's destroy them now. Is Bobby Kotick going to resign tomorrow and stuff like that. Like that's the headline grabbing stuff. We're in a very much in a now society. We don't really want to wait for things like evidence or a long, boring, trial process and research process. We want to just crucify somebody right now.
to end it here because I feel like we're falling down the hole right now.
I think we kind of are. Yeah.
Yeah, like I need to call. I need to stop it right here because we could spend another hour just talking, at least
I
talking
think
about it.
regardless. I mean, yeah, we'll probably come back to revisit that topic later. I'm of the opinion that I don't think he's really. I think he made his kind of vague
No,
statement
so
fine. I don't think he's a moral authority that needs to talk
well,
about this.
and again, he doesn't have to, but this is definitely um this is good that he did, and to just kind of end it on this is that yes, it is all allegedly, and it's all allegedly. This is we're again going through evidence, but it's one of those kind of things. But all of this, all of this is bad, and we do not support this. And everything that's happening at Activision, um, with all of that, we do not support what they did with all this stuff. It's terrible. It sucks, and
Well, I mean, if everything is true, then yeah, I'm sure that there's some terrible stuff in there. But I
I
want to, I'm not gonna, like I said, I still believe in you're innocent until proven guilty. I want to see where this actually goes.
I I get you. I get you.
I know you believe in, if someone's accused of something, they should be immediately, executed on the spot.
But
We should. You basically want to live in the world of Judge Dredd. You want to have people, riding around on motorcycles, shooting people, judge, jury, and executioner. That I think that's your
all right.
ideal world that you want to live in.
All all I'm saying, Spectre, is like yes, it is all alleged. It's all allegedly. We need the evidence has to come out, and again, innocent until proven guilty. I agree.
Yeah. And I'll reiterate too. I'm not exactly a fan of these people. The Blizzard that I know and love and that I grew up with, much like Sony,
they're
is
dead.
gone.
They're gone.
They're gone.
They're
Yeah,
dead.
yeah. The Sony that made the PlayStation 2 is gone. The
I mean,
Blizzard
I
that
disagree
made
with you on that, but whatever.
the Blizzard that made Warcraft 3 and the
Oh yeah,
original World of Warcraft.
Blizzard is dead. Blizzard is dead
Yeah,
and has been sucked into Activision and
BioWare. A lot of these companies are just gone.
yeah.
They still hold the same name, but
Oh, we could talk. I mean,
they're
again,
not the same
there
company.
have been reports about BioWare too, but we're not going to get into that anyway. But all just to end this, with what is happening with Activision, it sucks. It's terrible. We do feel for the people affected, like the developers, and know that you are not alone, and you have people who care about you, love you, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it sucks. Activision is everything that is happening. To Activision is yeah, it's everything that's happening to them.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Is,
some bad stuff. There's some bad stuff in there. Yeah, I mean, if it's true,
mm.
if it comes out, there's some bad stuff in there, and they're definitely worthy of being condemned if a lot of this is true.
Yep. So but yeah, all right, and I think that's it. So again, join us for the Game Awards when we go ahead and see. Oh, one last thing. What do you just before we go? What do you think will be revealed? Nothing. Okay.
Yeah, and nothing good. No, I mean, we'll probably see, we probably will see another more extensive trailer for Breath of the Wild sequel, which I'm not interested in. I'm hoping to be surprised. I'm hoping that we always have all these rumors of, oh, there's going to be a new Silent Hill game or this or that or all this stuff. I hope that for once I'm actually surprised, because every time we have these rumors and stuff, they just never come true. It's always the most pedestrian show that we've ever seen, So I'll hope for at least one real surprise. Like if there's one real surprise, I'll be happy.
Yeah. The one I've heard is that there may be a BioShock 4 that has been leaked, and that may be there. I don't know. I'm excited. That's all I know. And I'll be hyped for all the reveals. But anyway, guys, I know this is long. We went about 2 hours doing this, but that's okay. Guys, thank you so much. If you have gotten all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching. We really do appreciate it. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/Brotherhood of Geeks. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Tell everyone you know. Tell everyone you don't know. Hit the like button so that way we can go ahead and beat the YouTube algorithm. So that way we can go ahead and be shown on a bunch more places. You can also follow us on Twitter at Dualshock'd BOG. That's the name of this PlayStation podcast, Dualshock'd BOG. Write down. But you can go ahead and go there and tweet at us, all that kind of stuff. You can also follow us on Twitch when we stream at twitch.tv/Brotherhood of Geeks. When we stream, all that kind of stuff. You can also go to our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/The Brotherhood of Geeks. And then you can also go to our Instagram, instagram.com/Brotherhood of Geeks, where we put up pictures and all the kind of stuff that we've
You have an Instagram?
Oh, yes. I lost my headphone got disconnected.
Do you do like your outfits on there and stuff, and like some kind of lookbook type of thing, and your makeup?
Yes, that is exactly it. Yes. But anyway, you got playing the social media game. Yay. But yeah, please follow us on all the social media, and please subscribe to the channel. Tell everyone you know. Tell everyone you don't know. All that kind of stuff. So, anything else to say, Spectre?
No, that's about it. I wish I could say I'm looking forward to the Game Awards, but whatever. I mean, it's always mildly entertaining. So I mean, worst case scenario, I can always zone out and pull up another game in a different window here, and we'll get through this together.
Like you do all the time. Thank you, Spectre. Alrighty then. Well then, with all that being said, I'm Brett J. Rasmussen.
And I'm Spectre.
And as always, live to play, play together. We'll see you guys next time.